Hello, Flosstube. It's Pam, stitching between the lines. Today is Tuesday, October 31st, 2023. Happy Halloween. I'm just reaching behind me for a second. That lamp is kind of distracting. Oh, Tuesday, noon, just after noon. Starting a new month tomorrow, wrapping up another month, a previous month, October, the longest month ever. Holy cow, what a long month. Yeah. So here we are. I have so much stuff around me. The process by which I prepare for a Flosstube video is all month long. As I have something that I want to have ready and on hand for the next video, I put it over in front of the cabinet where my serger sits, which is next to my sewing machines here. All the things are right here. And the pile is getting so large that it was time. The time was here, a day early, which is fine. As if it makes that much difference. Yeah, so Flosstube number 131, my October 2023 summary, I guess. It's funny, I looked forward to October. When I was looking forward into October in my last video, I felt like I wasn't going to have a lot of stitching time. I keep looking over at my my planner, book of days, because there's a lot of stuff in there. I felt like I wasn't going to have a lot of stitching time. We traveled for a wedding and just the usual things that fill up the weeks. But I think when you see what all I've done, you'll think I must have been nuts when I was looking ahead to October, because there was some stitching. Yeah, and things. Okay, so the WIPGO calls for October were Kindred Spirits, which is my Ellen Chester piece. I took the class a year ago, hosted by Hobby House. Ellen Chester came and put on a weekend-long class, and I'd never taken anything by her. I think Brenda, Handwork Maniac, maybe had one that she had on her whip board for a long time to finish a piece or two in hers, but I can't swear it. It's just when I look at the components, it makes me think that maybe that's true. So I tried to be orderly with where I put things. So the Ellen Chester piece is this shaker box. Well, we're not making the box, we're filling the box. So when I took the class, we did a couple sides of this pin keep with all the fancy stitches that appear to be being used throughout the project. I can't swear they're all going to be used, because at this point I've done the pin box, I've done the stitching for the pipkin, and I've done some of the bands that line the box. So when we started, went into October, I showed you I had the pin keep sides done and these sides done, and I had one of the shorter sides of this box. This is one of the shorter sides, and I had started the long side. So I have completed the long side as much as I'm going to complete it. I personally don't really care for my initials, so I did not put my initial in the wreath. It's just going to be a wreath. I dropped a piece. And there's a lot of 1/1 in here. I don't hate 1/1. I feel like on this linen, which is not an even weave, and there's some thick threads and so on, 1/1 can look like a mess. And I don't think this looks like a mess. I'm not sure. Yeah, my vision isn't good enough to see what all's going on. But the flowers are 1/1, the bird, the lady's skin, the sheep, the black portions of the sheep are 1/1. And I personally didn't want to do the words. There's a lot of words that flow through here. It's a verse about kindred spirits. I feel like that has the potential for me to look messy. And I think that this little band and it will be just a little narrow band, is so sweet as it is. I just didn't want to do anything to mess it up, because really, if I got started, there's no picking it out. And if I got started, there's no not finishing it. So that one is done. And then here's one of the little bands that will go on one of the sides. And the other band is probably basically identical to this. Sheep, trees, that kind of stuff. So I have the box, and the big piece will line this side, and then the smaller pieces go in these smaller size portions. So it's beautiful. It's a beautiful box. There's instructions, fingers crossed, to make a piece that covers the bottom, and then how to make the pieces that, how to finish the stitching that goes in there. So I'm optimistic. I read the instructions yesterday on how to finish the pipkin, which is like this. It's like you maybe would put your thimble in it or some other little bits. I'm not really sure. Not really sure. Not really sure. My confidence is not where it should be for working on that. And interestingly enough, there's like what's called comic book board. It's like really thin cardboard, apparently, is in those, like what looks like an orange wedge pieces, which surprised me because of the lack of flexibility. Like one wrong bend and now you have a bent piece of something in there. So I'm not really sure what I'll do. I have some various what do I want to call it? Fusibles that are used in making purses, for example, to give the purse sides a little more sturdiness. I might look at those, give some consideration to what I might do. I don't know. That's still up in the air. Still to be determined. So then I showed it on the very, I think October 2nd, before I made my last video, which was on October 3rd, I talked about how I sat down to clean my sewing room and I started something instead. Well, I tidied it and started something. I like to call those accidental starts. So this Barbara Anna Designs Hocus Pocus was my accidental start at the beginning of the month. And I showed you that I had most of the cauldron done. I now have the cauldron all done, and that's where that one ended. Which, you know, for a accidental start, so be it. Partly what made me not do anything else was the next logical place to go after the cauldron was doing all these like scattered bits of, I don't know, ash, smoke, whatever, that's rising up, steam, and I just wasn't feeling it at that point. So, but it gets to go into my whips. Yeah. Let me fit it in the bag. I bought these bags, and they're really, in theory, I guess, better made for the half-size patterns, because the whole-size ones don't really want to slide in there when the zipper's open. But the fabric is so stinking cute. Let me see who they're by. I think they're Creative Totes, I believe, is who these bags are from. I have a couple of them. I ordered 3, I think. Not sure if we'll see any more of them, but the fabric was to die for. So I will probably have to migrate this out of there if I don't want to fold the pattern in half. So that was the sort of whip, accidental start, whatever. So my whip goes, what did I say? It was the Ellen Chester's and, oh, the Madame Lefay piece, which is long done and on the wall. I think I got it down and showed you last time. And then I had a start that I started in September. I want to give you the facts. Yes, I started it on September 30th. It was the Stitching Parlor, Trick or Treat Lane, which was all kitted up and just screaming at me. It was one of the ones I picked out in September and thought I might start these at some point, and so I started this one, and that's actually Hocus Pocus was one of those, and I finished it put a board up behind it just for the visibility. And it's so cute, so cute, so cute, so cute. I just did it like it was charted. Difficulty here on the video, I feel like the picket fence shows up more than it does in real life. There's not a lot of contrast between the picket fence and the house. On the pattern, they stitch their grass running right to left. I stitched my grass up and down. I also didn't just line up the pumpkins flush right across the thing like they did in here, which I don't know. I just made them a little more staggered, like they're out in the lawn or something. It's so cute, isn't it? I think my friend Carol stitched this, and I'm betting she did it 1/1, and it was the cutest, sweetest little thing. I'm pretty sure that's where I saw this originally. 1/1's not my jam. It takes a lot of magnification for me to get from here to there. So I like it. It's cute. It worked out well. So let me see. Anything else? No. Okay. This. My other whip. I need paper because I have whips turned to finish. So I want to just make sure I've done Ellen Chester's. Oh, this one. Okay. So this I had started in September, and my goal, this Spooky Countdown by the Primitive Hair, I started it in September. My goal was to have the foundation of that the single piece ready to go and do a block a day in October. I didn't want to do that. So I had the foundation done, and I actually had the first 3 days worth stitched by October 1st, which was my goal. This bottom portion is 1 day, so I had that done. And then one a day, and I wanted to do the first 3 because of the traveling for the wedding. I ended up taking it with me though, because of all my whips, it seemed like the easiest to travel. So I did. It's right here. It's completed. I kept up. Sometimes it was a day ahead or 2. And then I kind of fell down a little bit. And then I just said, get it done. Just do it. Just have this be your piece. I wasn't working on, like the Ellen Chester piece wasn't good evening stitching for me because there's a lot of specialty stitches or whatever going on in there. 1/1. So I was picking this up every evening, but then if I wasn't getting a day's worth done, it was the first thing I went to the next day. It just seemed to be a bit of a, it turned more stressful than it should have, but as much as I loved it, I wanted to do it. And so I just completed it a few days early. I finished it on the 23rd, so it's not like a huge amount done. So I did everything called for threads and everything. There's an occasional mistake here or there, but everything's so, what's the word I want? The ones that are coming to my mind is not what I want. It just, I mean, if your cauldron wasn't round, maybe that would show. But if the hat had a crook or a part that didn't go right, nobody was going to notice. So there's a couple little stitch mistakes like that. But it came out beautiful. It's on a piece of Days Gone By, a 16 count that I got from Silk Weaver way back in the day. It's kind of funny. I don't really remember ever ordering an Ada, but I was also in the Surprise Me Fabric of the Month Club. And so I got all kinds of things, which was the coolest Fabric of the Month Club ever to be in. I wish I'd stayed in it longer. Obviously, because I think this is possibly the very last piece of anything Silk Weaver from that era that I have. So yeah, it used 3 skeins of black, and I went into a second skein of the orange and the green. So if anybody's stitching this, have some floss on hand. Plenty of floss, plenty of black on hand. Isn't that pretty? I have no idea how I'm going to finish it. I feel like this is one that I could order a frame for from like frames.com or whatever the heck, and maybe do it myself. We will see. It's a whole stretching it thing, right? So then in October, not only did I start Hocus Pocus, I also watched my friend Kathleen Stride and Trail, watched her 2 videos thus far of her whips. while I kit everything under the sun up, Kathleen starts as many things as I kit. She starts. I guess I get satisfied with the kitting it and having it ready to go. So anyway, she showed her whip parade, and she showed a pattern. Sorry. Oh, there it is. It's under my book of days. She showed a tiny modernist pattern that I wasn't home when I watched her video. I was away for a couple nights. And my husband and I, we went to just Panera Bread to get some supper. And I went on over to Hobby Lobby because I thought, I'm starting that tonight. I have to start it. The Tiny Modernist 12 Christmas Carols, which is the cutest, sweetest. I love Christmas music, everything. And, we all know I like everything Christmassy. So she showed this. I bought it. I downloaded it. I took the required list over to Hobby Lobby. Now, somebody's going to have to tell me what has happened at Hobby Lobby with cross stitch. Because one, I already had noticed that their whole section where they had the kits, like good kits, not just like little starter kits like you'd buy for a kid, that's gone. And their fabric, what's going on? I personally like the artiste fabric. I was there probably in July. And I was looking through their rack of fabric, the fabric, and I almost picked up a couple, and then I said, no, I have more than enough fabric. So I knew what I wanted. I had seen it there. No, not. There's the only color they had in the gray that I wanted was 25 count, and the piece wasn't big enough if I was doing 25 count over 2, and I wasn't doing it over 1. So I had to not start it right away. I had to come home and go through my fabric stash, and then I started it. So Tiny Modernist 12 Christmas Carols. And I'm doing it all on one piece of fabric. So it's on a piece of 28 count Winter Wishes Fabrics by Steph. So this took me 2 stitching sessions, and this was what I did last night. I can't remember if that's the only thing I did. I don't know. That was all the way last night. I get about an hour and a half of stitching in the evening, and that's about it. It's so cute. It's brighter than I expected from the picture, but I don't know why I thought that. I don't know. My vision of Christmas colors is a little bit more prairie schooler-ish. I could change things, but I didn't. So aqua and whatnot, very, very, very bright reds. That's what it's going to be. Yellows and aquas. What era was that in Christmas colors? So this is it's Christmas time in the city. So I've started that middle one in the top row. Cute. So cute. That's fun. That's definitely a fun one. So my whips grew by 2, Hocus Pocus and Tiny Modernist. And what else? Those were my whips and my finishes. Whip go, and let's not talk plans yet. Let's not go there yet. Let me look at my list. So what else did I do with my time in October? Well, I FFO'd things. I know. I'm going to give you a minute. Catch your breath. Get up off the floor, because we all know my MO is if I can't take it to the framers, it doesn't get FFO'd. Which reminds me, video right here. of Mermaids of the Deep. I forgot to show you last time. And it's so big that it just worked better in a video, like on my phone. So yeah, isn't that gorgeous? Holy cow. Holy cow. That was a beautiful one. So there's that, but that wasn't really FFO'd by me. But I can't even tell you the last time I really FFO'd anything. But last year, this time, maybe November, I took some things to Hobby Lobby and picked out things, and they were still in the shopping carrier that I took with me. So I got that out, and I FFO'd all the things in there, and plus an item or two. So yeah, pick yourself up off the floor and get ready. Holy cow. So excuse me while I duck out because they're all over here on the floor. I want to say first up, this is the first one I'm going to show you. I FFO'd the Ellen Chester pin keep. Again, no initials. It says pins. Set upside down. Pins. And I had some counting pins that I stuck in there. So this is finished all the way around, just like if you did a beaded edge ornament, which I have done many, many, many of. One of my favorite ornament finishes is a beaded edge, which involves putting a running stitch all the way around your work and then stitching through the running stitch on the two pieces. Of course, this is 3-dimensional, so it was a bit more tedious, but it really came out nice. So that's my first, fits in my shaker box Ellen Chester FFO. Yay me. And then, as I had planned to do, I probably even showed you all the way back last November, I have the hands-on design letters to Santa. I think it was a mystery thing last year that I finished on this like chalkboard thing that looks like a tag. Yeah, and it came out so cute. It really, really, really came out well. I'm quite happy with it. I don't know anything about the fabric. I think it was a piece of random red that I had. And then I bought this, well, I stitched it in 2018. I started it in 2017, and I probably had the pattern for a little while before that. I know, I'll show you in a minute. But first you have to hear the story. Not that it's elaborate or anything. I had the pattern, loved the piece. It's a monochromatic, so I took the pattern with me on the very first ever Farm Girl retreat in Minnesota and went to Stitchville. And I don't know if I had the fabric, and I went there and I matched the fabric to the fibers. That's what I think I did, is I took the fabric that I had and went in search of the right, tone of thread or whatever. So this is Oh Christmas Tree by All Through the Night. So again, I finished it in 2018, started it in 2017. So isn't it just a frame, nothing, what would you say, that fantastical, I guess. Ooh. I also took this piece and found this to finish it on. I wanted to put, let me see. Excuse me while I look around for the right kind of object to put behind it. We're going to use my Book of Days just for the sunlight. This is just color of fabric, not wrinkles. So it's winter. It's the name of it is Winter, the Seasonal Celebrations by Country Cottage. And it just looks cool. I don't know. Easy to prop somewhere. I'd like to find a little something to hang there, dangle there, ornament there, whatever. Maybe a little bit of like pom-pom garland or something. So this will require another trip to somewhere where they sell Christmas crafty things. Hobby Lobby, for example. So that'll be cute. and not even winter as much as, I mean, doesn't need to be Christmas. It's winter. That green and that blue. So that's cute. We'll see. We'll see what I find. And then this was, I think All American Santa out of one of those, is it a Leisure Arts book? I started this a couple years ago, and I love it. I love how the white fabric and the black frame, he just pops on there. It's just, yeah, I finished it in 2022, so this one wasn't even laying around here all that long, considering, what was the one, 2018? What was this one? 2020. Yeah. Yeah. This one I cannot wait to have displayed. I just love how vivid that is. And then one more framed piece. This also was another Hobby Lobby. I shopped for it. I had to work with the frame, I'm just looking. Sorry. Just looking. I didn't write down the name. Bad me. Country Cottage. I'm not sure. It's either Country Cottage or Little House in the Meadow, I think is the name. I have a feeling the pattern is over in my workspace because I kept patterns with everything until they were done. And this again was a pre-made, frame from Hobby Lobby. Just love the way it looks. Yeah, and that green, I don't think I ever want to frame anything myself again that's on this green gingham. Whew. Not easy. Not easy. And then lastly, I feel like, I don't know where I got dust here. Hey, we had to come back for a quick second because I was across the room and I forgot I had an FFO that was over there being weighted down with some heavy books. So the really, really last FFO I had in October was Tree Farm from Prairie Schooler. So this was another Hobby Lobby find, and it fit in here almost exactly just right. I had to do a little fabric enhancement on the bottom, and I think it's gonna be perfect for displaying, yet another Prairie Schooler piece. Lastly, I FFO'd Lutin de Noël from Collection Tralala. So it's like the elf of Christmas elf. I FFO'd him as a stand-up, like a 3-dimensional stand-up. I used Lady Dot chenille and red with polka dot fabric, and he really came out cute. I put what's in his bottom? Like the bird cage, what is it, like walnut shells, weighs him a little bit. So he really came out cute. He's cute. This is not the first stand-up. I have a couple stand-ups that are Christmas or put away with Christmas things that I had done by my frame shop. They have a finisher. And so I have a couple, so this guy can sit right with them. But I did my first ever stand-up eons before there was any videos to show us how to do anything. And he's sitting in front of the fireplace in our family room, and he's super, super cute. Hang on, I'm just changing out his little ornament piece. I bought this the very first time I ever went to the Silver Needle, which is more than, like, his date is 2001 when I finished it. So it was this cat that has some different things that, hang by his collar. So this guy's been around for over 20 years, and he's not so much, he doesn't have a lot of wear and tear or anything, but way before, he's got, I think, dried beans in his bottom, way before there was anything to watch online. I did him. So he has pieces like, he has a Thanksgiving tag. This was an actual feather that apparently disintegrated once upon a time. Oh, an Easter Bunny one. and a Christmas one. How's that for a grumpy cat? A Valentine's Day one. Oops, what does he say? I'll be your Valentine if you change my litter. Yeah, well, pretty much. And a patriotic summer one with Liberty and tuna for all. Something like that, tuna fish for all. So, I don't it's a pretty basic, easy finish if you can sew. It's just the bottom curve that's the thing you got to work out. Involves a little hand stitching. So I wanted to brush up a little bit on my circly things because I have some what do I want to call them? I want to call them needle rolls. That's not what it is. Some round ones I want to finish. We'll see. I have all the tools and the skills. I think it's the decorative stitching part to go around the top and the bottom that I'm not so positive. Not so confident in. Let's say that. All right. So those are the things that I've been doing. Let's talk about what I'll be doing. I still have a little bit of FFOing laying around. There's a lot of FFOing, but I think I'm looking over at my space. I had taken one other piece with me to Hobby Lobby last year and didn't find anything to finish it on, so I don't know what I'm doing with it. Plus, there's pieces I just put them in a box. In the box in their project bag, so that's part of my project bag shortage. Anyway, the WIPCO calls for November are well, the last two things I had left, conveniently, were called in November. So, Vibrant Vistas, my Heaven and Earth design by Jane Wooster Scott. And it wasn't that long ago that I showed it. He's still all bound up in his frame. Haven't taken a single stitch since the last time I showed you. Shocking, right? I always leave it by my chair and say, maybe I like working on it so much, I'm going to keep it out. Yeah, I'm not fooling anybody probably. And then the other one, my very, very last WIPCO piece that has not been called. I'm pretty sure it was on there twice, but maybe once. Let me see what's worked on. Yeah, I'm thinking it hasn't been called. Is Holiday in a Bottle, Cute Patterns by Maria. And it is way cute. And the only thing I have done, I've worked on it 2 times. Once to start it, and then another time is parts of the tree on the top of the car. So I have a ways to go. I'm not really confident I'll get it done in November. Yet to be determined. You just never know. November, of course, has Thanksgiving in it. And for me, in my house, that's usually a big work time. And not a lot of stitching time. I'm just tucking my needle in. My needle was facing the wrong direction for the direction I was rolling it up. So my end of my WIPCO for me are these 2 patterns, and then everything will have been called because the numbers to be called in December are things I've already finished. So I think I've mentioned before, I won't do WIPCO again. Not that I didn't love it. I really looked forward to what numbers were going to be called, but some of it is just my stitching style and that I don't like sometimes a big pattern, like say Vibrant Vistas. My WIPCO goals are 10 days on a big project and intending to finish some of the smaller things as they're called. And so if a big project like Vibrant Vistas is called, I really would like to put more than 10 days in it. I would like it to be my major project for the month, and then the smaller thing, my minor project. So sometimes my major projects were called twice in the same month. Yes, I can move everything around. I get it, but I didn't join WIPCO just to do whatever I felt like. I did it to play along. So, for example, I believe Mermaids of the Deep maybe was called in the same month. Now I've forgotten, but anyway. So I feel like it gets cheated because I would work on it that much anyway in the month. So And I don't have that many whips, and the whole point of whip go was to make your whips go, like go away, get progress on them, whatever. I don't have a problem getting progress on my whips. So I will enter into 2024 with my going back to what had worked for me for the last couple years, is where I choose a big project and work on that, and then usually a small project that I work on as well, as the situation requires. Heaven and Earth Design, Vibrant Vistas is a harder project for me to work on just because it has so many things. I like to do it in a stand. My stand is, I can't sit in my recliner watching TV, because the legs of the stand don't go under the Lazy Boy recliners. So I have to sit differently in a different spot. So it just doesn't lend itself quite the same way. So I'm happy it's called. I'm happy to work on it. Um, uh, I don't even know where I was going with that. Whatever. It's not even that kind of day, but I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, so that was that. Whipco was fun. I enjoyed it. I won't do it again. I guess if I get into the month into 2024 and I really wish the numbers being called meant something to me, then maybe I'll do something, but I don't know. Whatever. I'm not really worried about it. So yeah, those are my plans, and then I'm gonna pick up off the floor a couple things here. I forgot to show you this last time. Who is it? Chris, the camping stitcher, says she has a section of the things I forgot last time, which would be Mermaids of the Deep and this pattern I bought. So I bought this pattern from an Etsy store because, hello, I love it. A Victorian downtown kind of scene. It is from, let me get the clip off. It's called Christmas Village. Possibly I'm going to have to flip a page or two. And it is intense. There's a lot of intensity to it. I'm looking for the numbers and things. And designer's name. If I don't find it in the next half a second, I will put it down below. Look at that. It's not on here. Anyway, Christmas Village. It's gorgeous. I love it. Love it, love it. But interestingly, prior to purchasing it, I looked at it at the wording, the dimensions as they called for it, and I don't know. It said it was like 120 by 140. I'm like, all right, I don't know. It's a lot of picture for that size, but that size seems manageable. Well, it is. I'm looking this time. I'm really looking. It is 340 stitches long by 180. So don't believe the Etsy description on whatever site this I said it was from. I'm looking. We're going to look at my iPad anyway in a minute at some other things. So just bear with me for half a second while I pull up this lovely, beautiful design, which I have resisted the urge to kit up because, as you know, I kitted up very recently. What's the one with the shadows? Oh, that Brian Blitzstitch is doing as well. Yeah, so let's see. Let me find my purchases. Etsy seems determined to make me have to work for things. Like everything's not just laid out there like I feel like it used to be. And I have to say, I'm not leaving reviews. Leaving reviews is not what I do. So the Christmas Village is by Busby Designs, and I'm just looking for some of the stats about it. Not gonna immediately share them with me. Crazy. Nope. On here it calls it Folksy Christmas Village by Busby Designs. Let me see if I can get it. Nope. They had another design that I really, really, really liked. So I'm going to get it way up close where you can see there where it says Busby Designs on Etsy. They have another one I really like, but I'm hesitant, of course, because this falls under the category of collecting patterns at this rate. But I love how realistic in this village that you can see activity through the windows. Usually it's just like the blob of yellow to make a window, empty space. And then I also purchased this. Teresa Koget's Harvest Friendship, because hello. We're back to where I don't care for the saying, so I really don't know saying unless it's like something Christmassy or whatever. I'm just not a fan of sayings on my work. If it's nothing I've ever heard, so it doesn't have any real meaning, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. So those are my purchases that I failed to share. And then I wanted to do a little bit of books, books. It was mentioned that somebody missed my book review-ish because I'm not writing a report like we're in English class together or anything, but any mention of what I might be reading. So I went back through and looked at my Goodreads, and the reason I haven't talked about books specifically is that I haven't read anything that I really like, and I won't give a bad review on a public forum like this. It's not fair to the author, and I maybe am not going to be as articulate as I should be and really explain why. I don't want to be like I'm in English class. I want to say, yes, it's good. It made me feel good. I enjoyed the story. The characters were great, whatever. So I am hesitant when I haven't read anything worth mentioning to really bring it up. So and it's a couple books I've read have like triggers. Talk about triggers. I am a member of a couple different book groups on Facebook, and sometimes people will give like a trigger warning and talk about what it is, violence, whatever. Usually it's something that the reader would upset the reader, and so the reader appreciates knowing that. So I've read a couple books where I don't feel qualified to give trigger warnings because I'm not sure. I mean, I know some things I wouldn't want to read, but I don't know. So there's been a couple I've read that I'm like, whoo, we are not talking about this one. So anyway, there go those. I was somewhere I saw it was on Facebook, probably one of the book groups or something. Somebody posted a link to what was the number one book the year you were born. So I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Let me go look. Well, the year I was born, the number one book was Where the Wild Things Are, which is a children's story, which I do not like. But it's hardly a book I'm going to sit down and go look for and read. So then I went to the year my girls were born. And this is the book that was number one the year my daughter was born. 1,000 Acres by Jane Smiley. And I thought it looked good. It's about three sisters who still live who were raised on the family farm, Iowa. I'm pretty sure it was Iowa. And as adults, there's like things are happening. And I thought it looked really interesting, but by the end, it ends up being really kind of sad book. And a couple triggers, just be warned. After I got into it, I realized I had read it. So I had read it at some point, back when it was out. And then for my other daughter, the book was Into the Wild, whose author I don't remember, but if you've never read that, that's a good book. It's nonfiction. And it was a good story. I think there's a movie now too. So I didn't go revisit that, but then I went and I looked and I'm like, how's a children's book the number one book the year I was born? Well, so I went back and I went and searched, and I don't know where they got the facts, their information on this post, but I forget. There wasn't really a number one book the year I was born from the New York Times bestseller list because there was a newspaper strike for a very long time. So from when they started publishing again until the end of the year, I guess wasn't a fair representation or whatever. I don't know. So then I went to the number one book, like at the date I was born. So within that week I was born, and it was called The Group by Mary McCarthy. So I didn't read it. It's on my to read list, and I will go in search of it. I mean, obviously, my next birthday that's coming up starts with a big number. So, I mean, you need two hands to do the number. So, I don't know how easy it'll be to find in a library, but maybe it'll be an ebook, or certainly I can buy probably the ebook somewhere. So it just looked kind of interesting. So I'm going to try that. That's on my to be read list. But another book that I did read was An Innocent Abroad. And it's another book by Anne Leary. The Yellow House was by her. I talked about that, how much I liked it. Liked it. I enjoyed reading it. So I'd gotten this one from, I think it was a library. I think I borrowed the ebook from the library. It's a nonfiction story of how she came to give birth to her son in London. So it was a good book. It was well written. It was interesting. It kept my attention, and not a bad story. I think he was born the same year my daughter was born, my oldest daughter. So that was kind of fun. So that's what I've read and what I've planned to read. I also have the newest John Grisham book. I'm going to read it as soon as I'm finished with the one a book I'm reading now. My little bit of obsession with the whole DNA, 23andMe, discovering your history is not what you thought it was, or you knew you were adopted or whatever, and the whole quest for finding your family, that I just find that intriguing. So I'm reading another book. Nothing I would even bring up because there are just so many of them. And they all tell kind of the same, they have sort of the same thread. So anyway, John Grisham's up next. So that's my pile kind of diminished down. It's Halloween. We won't get trick-or-treaters. We live on a little private lane that's far away from the main road, and the main road's not where kids walk to go trick-or-treating, and there's no children that live out along our little stretch. I feel like over the years, trick-or-treating has become actually going out in the evening and knocking on doors, and trick-or-treating has fallen off. Even when was raising my kids, we lived right in town, and people would drive from the countryside into town and park their cars close to our house. There was a parking lot nearby. The school was nearby. And so we would get just all evening long, and that just slowly fizzled. So even my kids who do live in, my one daughter who lives in a village, she got maybe 6 trick-or-treaters last year. So we'll see. I just really think that trend has sort of faded away, which is kind of too bad, because as a kid I remember that being just so fun, so much fun. So that's kind of sad. We're looking forward to Thanksgiving rolling up on us. We are having company this year for Thanksgiving, just for the meal, just for the day. Yeah, I'm feeling like I'm too old to host long extended stay vacations. I don't know. This time of year when Christmas is coming, I don't know. So I don't think we'll have, I think all my kids are just day trippers this year. It's hard. Everybody has pets, and now there's a baby, and it's a little bit harder. So I don't mind doing the meal. That's a fun meal to do. It's sort of always the same, kind of the same. Cooking a turkey. A turkey is easy to cook. And the sides, we don't do anything over the top fancy. I love the pie baking, which not sure how much of that I'll be doing. I think our company is bringing one dessert and I made a pie recently and put it in the freezer. Maybe I'll do, I'll have to do a pumpkin pie. There can't not be pumpkin pie. So, oh yeah, it's coming. Thanksgiving to Christmas is my favorite time of year. As a kid, I mean, I know what kid isn't excited by it. The start of winter, things are fun at school when you're a kid. My birthday falls in that window of time, and it's just, hard not to enjoy it. So I'm looking forward to it. I last night asked my husband to bring upstairs some of the storage boxes that the Halloween decorations go in, because I'm like, all right, they're done, gone. It's like it's time. It's time to start rolling over. Um, so yeah, I look forward to that, and yeah, hopefully everybody else is enjoying this time of year. It has not snowed yet. Um, Almost 2 weeks ago, the weatherman reminded us that a year ago on that date we had our first snow, and to qualify for a snow it has to be more than just flakes. I think there has to be measurable snow on the ground, which sometimes when it's an inch we don't even count it, like, yeah, there's we don't really count it. You can still see the grass. Um, so yeah, it's coming. It's coming. They're talking about flakes here and there, but still not. The lake is still steaming. Actually, this was the first morning I really saw it steaming, which means it's only just cooling down. So, yeah, we've had a beautiful fall, some warm weather, some rainy weather, just the way we need it to be. So, okay, now I'm rambling. I need to get this edited a little bit and get it uploading. Our internet's been kind of like blah, blah, sketchy, sketchy. So hopefully it won't take all afternoon. Last time I held on to the video for like 2 days because I can't think, what was it I knew I needed to do something. I knew I needed, oh, I was meaning to put in the clip of the Mermaids of the Deep. I forget what went wrong. Something wasn't working right. So I just uploaded it. So anyway, till next time. Bye.